At 80, I've gained so much wisdom about life, yet there's one choice that weighs heavily on my heart: moving into a nursing home. In that moment, it felt like the decision was the right one. My family urged me to pursue it, assuring me that I would receive all the care and comfort I could ever want. I truly believed them, yet when I finally got there, the reality was a stark contrast to the vision I had held in my mind. I understand that many of you may be contemplating this choice, whether for yourselves or for someone dear to you. Perhaps you believe it's the most secure choice, or maybe others have suggested it will simplify your life. Before you make that decision, I feel compelled to share 6 things I wish someone had shared with me before I moved in. The reality is, life in a nursing home isn't merely about convenience. It transforms everything in ways you might not expect. Once you step inside, finding your way back out is far more complicated than you might imagine. Please, stay with me until the end. I believe some of these lessons may truly catch you off guard. If you know someone who is contemplating a nursing home, this video could be the heartfelt message they truly need to hear before embarking on such a significant journey. Let's begin this journey together. I deeply regret losing my independence. The most surprising aspect of moving into a nursing home wasn't the cramped space, the rigid meal schedules, or the strange faces surrounding me. It hit me hard the moment I understood that I had let go of the reins of my own existence. Before I settled in, I had my own rhythms and rituals. I made choices about when to rise, when to nourish myself, and how to fill my hours. There was a time when I could wander freely, prepare my own meals, or simply find solace in my favorite chair, lost in the pages of a book. Yet within the walls of the nursing home, I soon came to understand that my time had slipped away from me. Everything unfolded according to a timeline that felt foreign to me. Breakfast always happened at the same hour, regardless of whether I felt hungry or not. The lights would go out at a specific hour, leaving me to confront the reality of my day, regardless of whether I felt prepared to embrace the night. Would you like to join me for a walk outside? It seems you may need to seek permission, and it's likely that you'll have to wait for someone to be available to help you. What once felt like simple decisions, such as choosing what to eat or what to wear, now weigh heavily on my heart, transforming into privileges rather than mere choices. I can still picture my first week there, waking up in a bed that felt so foreign to me. As I sat up and stretched, my hand instinctively reached for the book that had accompanied me through so many moments at home. As I surveyed the room, a wave of realization washed over me. This place never felt like home to me. All my cherished books, my beloved chair, the small comforts I had painstakingly gathered over the years have vanished. All that remained were cold, unfeeling walls and a solitary bed. I never wanted it to be this way. It lingered within me, an undeniable weight. I felt as though I had lost control of my own existence. What weighs heaviest on my heart? Coming to terms with the fact that relinquishing your independence makes reclaiming it feel like an insurmountable challenge. You change because it's necessary. You cease the debate when they reveal the dinner plans. You no longer ask if you can take a walk whenever the mood strikes you. As you adapt to their expectations, a piece of you begins to fade away, leaving behind a sense of longing for the person you once were. As you contemplate the decision of a nursing home, take a moment to reflect. Are you truly prepared to let go of those little freedoms that define your life? Once they leave, the ache of their absence will hit you in ways you never imagined, feeling a deep sense of regret, as if I've been left behind and forgotten. One of the most difficult realizations about entering a nursing home is the painful awareness that life outside continues on, leaving you behind. Upon my arrival, my family promised me that they would come to see me frequently. I placed my trust in them, and at first they lived up to it. My daughter used to visit me every week. Weekends were filled with the laughter and joy of my grandchildren's visits. For a fleeting moment, it seemed as though I could still reach out and touch the remnants of my past life. Yet, as time passed, the visits dwindled. leaving a lingering sense of loss. My daughter has begun to reach out with calls instead of visiting in person. My grandchildren have become so caught up in their school and work commitments. The holidays were truly the most challenging time. It's disheartening how everyone seemed to have good intentions, yet somehow the plans always fell apart at the last moment. In that moment I sat there, feeling the weight of solitude in the common room, surrounded by others who shared the same longing. We all gazed at the door, each of us silently wishing that today might finally bring someone to remember us. My family never stopped loving me, but something changed along the way. Life simply took over. When you're absent from daily life, it's all too simple for others to believe that you're okay, that you've adapted, that you don't crave the same level of care and connection. Yet the reality is that the more time you spend in a nursing home, the more likely it is for others to overlook the depth of your need for their presence and support. One evening I found myself in my room, phone in hand, wrestling with the decision of whether to reach out to my son. I never intended to impose on anyone. I hesitated to bring up my presence, knowing I was just here, holding on to the hope of a visit that may never arrive. As I set the phone down, a wave of realization washed over me. This is the reality I find myself in now. As the days pass, I find myself yearning for someone to hold on to the memories we shared. If you're considering a move to a nursing home, take a moment to reflect on whether you're ready to face the solitude that may come with it. Even with all the love your family has for you, it's surprising how quickly you can fade from their thoughts once you're no longer in their presence. If you're still with me in this moment and finding these insights meaningful, I would truly appreciate it if you could comment number 2 below to show that you're here with me. If you haven't had the chance to subscribe yet, I truly encourage you to do so and turn on the bell. I wouldn't want you to miss out on any of the videos we share. It's time for us to take the next step together. Regret weighs heavily on my heart, especially when I think about losing my sense of purpose. When I moved into the nursing home, I believed I was simply altering my address. I never understood that my reasons for living were shifting too. Within the walls of my home, I carried the weight of responsibility. There was a time when I found joy in my routines, immersed myself in hobbies, and felt a genuine purpose to rise each day. Even the smallest tasks like watering the plants, brewing my own coffee, and tidying up my space filled me with a profound sense of purpose. Yet, within the walls of the nursing home, those cherished daily rituals faded away. Meals were lovingly prepared for me, the cleaning was handled by another, and the plants, those beautiful living things, were no longer my responsibility to nurture. Initially, I convinced myself that it would be a relief to finally unwind, just a moment to breathe, to let go of all the burdens and simply find peace. Yet, as the weeks went by, I couldn't shake the feeling that something essential was absent. The days seemed to drag on endlessly, filled with a heavy sense of waiting and longing. I noticed it in the other residents as well. Once vibrant individuals now find themselves trapped in a cycle of stillness, their days consumed by a haunting stillness as they sit, stare, and long for the moments to slip away. Once, there was a man named Henry, who, at 84 years old, had devoted his entire life to the craft of carpentry. At home, he poured his heart into fixing things, crafting little projects in his garage that reflected his passion and dedication. Yet in this place, he found himself surrounded by emptiness. No tools, no projects, nothing to ignite his creativity. I observed him as he gradually pulled his hands away, once so capable and confident, now resting quietly in his lap. In a moment of vulnerability, he confided in me, saying he felt useless, and my heart ached because I understood his pain all too well. Without something to nurture or a goal to strive for, it feels as though life begins to fade in significance. The mind begins to slow, the body lags behind, and before you know it, you find yourself feeling like just another inhabitant in a space where time passes, yet nothing truly transforms. If you're thinking about a nursing home, take a moment to reflect on what truly brings meaning to your life. Once you settle in, discovering your purpose becomes a journey far more complex than merely occupying your hours. It's a struggle to cling to the moments that truly ignite your spirit. Regret weighs heavily as my health declines more rapidly than I ever anticipated. Before I transitioned to a nursing home, I felt like I was managing quite well for my age. I may not have been running marathons, yet I was still capable of looking after myself. I find solace in taking walks and preparing my own meals. I had my little routines that kept me going: grocery shopping, stretching in the mornings, even just walking around the house to keep my legs strong. Looking back, I realize how much those moments meant to me. Yet, after I settled in, everything shifted. In the beginning, it felt like I was simply allowing myself some time to relax. Meals were delivered to me, and I found myself relieved from the burden of standing in the kitchen to cook. Whenever I found myself in need, all it took was a simple push of a button, and there would be someone there to lend a hand. Yet I failed to see that by neglecting my own needs, I was only diminishing my own strength. I found myself becoming less active, and before long, my legs began to feel increasingly stiff. As I reflected on my days, I realized that I had begun to sit more than I ever did before. It struck me how, before long, rising from a chair had transformed into a burdensome task. The muscles I had dedicated so much time and effort to were fading away more quickly than I could have imagined. It wasn't only my experience. I witnessed it unfold for others as well. Individuals who once moved with ease found themselves depending on wheelchairs in an instant. Individuals who once thrived on their independence now found themselves seeking assistance with tasks that had previously posed no challenge. It felt like the more support we received, the more we found ourselves longing for it. I think back to my neighbor Eleanor, an 82-year-old woman who brought such vibrancy when she first moved in. She would stroll through the facility every day, determined not to let a mere number dictate her pace of life. Yet, as the months passed, I began to realize she wasn't walking as often anymore. Then she began to rely on a walker, and eventually a wheelchair became her constant companion. One day she turned to me and said, "I don't know when it happened, but it feels like I've aged a decade in just a few months." It truly felt that way. When you neglect your body, it begins to fade away from you. In a nursing home where every detail is crafted for ease, it's all too simple to overlook that movement transcends mere convenience. It is, at its core, a matter of survival. If I had realized how swiftly my strength would fade, I would have put up a greater fight to keep going, to remain active, to challenge myself even on the days I felt like giving up. If you're thinking about a nursing home, take a moment to reflect. Will you still find the drive to maintain your strength when life is designed to be so easy? Once you take a moment to pause, finding the strength to rise again can be more challenging than you ever imagined. If you're still with me in this moment and finding these insights meaningful, I would truly appreciate it if you could share a simple 4 in the comments to let me know you're present. If you haven't had the chance to subscribe yet, I truly encourage you to do so and turn on the bell. I wouldn't want you to miss out on any of the videos we share. Your support means the world to us, allowing us to keep crafting meaningful content that informs and inspires you. We truly appreciate it. It's time for us to take the next step together. Regret lingers, a haunting reminder of the loss of privacy and dignity. One of the things I overlooked before moving into a nursing home was the significant loss of privacy I would experience. In the comfort of my home, I found a space that was truly mine. There were moments when I could simply shut my bedroom door, embrace the stillness, and choose to navigate my own path, free from outside influence. In a nursing home, the sense of privacy often slips away, leaving you with a bittersweet reminder of what once was. From the moment I arrived, an unsettling feeling enveloped me, as if I were under constant scrutiny. Staff moved in and out, room checks were scheduled, and the shared spaces left little room for solitude. Even the most basic tasks, such as getting dressed or using the bathroom, frequently needed the help of another person. I understand they were only fulfilling their responsibilities, yet it's incredibly difficult to embrace assistance when you've managed everything on your own for so long. Looking back on that first week, I can't help but feel a deep sense of struggle as I grappled with the realization that I now had to seek permission for actions that once came so naturally to me. Would you like to take a shower? It seems you may need to be patient until someone is free to assist you. You need to take a moment for yourself? There are moments when reaching out feels like it only leads to more waiting than we ever anticipated. It felt like even the simplest meal choices were taken away from me. If the menu doesn't appeal to you today, I understand how disappointing that can be. And then came the complicated matter of roommates. Not everyone is fortunate enough to have a private room, and sharing a space with someone you didn't select can often lead to feelings of frustration. I feel grateful for having a kind roommate, yet I can't help but think of those who face much harsher realities. Some found themselves sharing space with roommates who were loud, unkempt, or faced challenges that made restful sleep feel like an unattainable dream. Even with all the effort you put into making your room feel like home, it never quite captures that sense of belonging. It's a painful realization, one that crept up on me without warning. I never understood the weight of what I was giving up until I found myself in that moment, feeling the loss of my own dignity. When people knock but don't always pause for a response before entering, when you're addressed like a patient rather than a person, when your daily rhythms are governed by a timetable you didn't choose, it transforms you. It's as if you're slowly fading away, becoming just another name on a list, losing the essence of who you truly are. If you're thinking about a nursing home, take a moment to reflect. Are you truly ready to let go of the privacy and control that have defined your life until now? Once it's lost, reclaiming it feels nearly impossible. Regret lingers as I come to terms with the truth that parting ways is far more challenging than I ever imagined. When I first arrived at the nursing home, I convinced myself it would only be for a little while. I decided to take a chance, to see where this path might lead me. If it didn't resonate, I could simply walk away. But I never truly understood the depth of the struggle I would face in trying to escape once I had entered. In the beginning, it felt so straightforward. If I truly didn't enjoy it, I would simply return home. Yet home felt different now. My house stood silent, and keeping up with its care from afar turned into a challenge. My children had begun to make decisions on my behalf, selling items they believed I could do without, and even contemplating renting out our home. When I mentioned the possibility of coming back, there was a pause, a moment of uncertainty in their response. Do you truly believe you can handle everything by yourself? Isn't it wiser to just remain here? All we truly desire is for you to find what brings you happiness. And then came the reality of physical decline. After months of residing in a space where the burdens of cooking, cleaning, and even walking were lifted from my shoulders, I found myself feeling weaker than I once was. The independence I once cherished began to fade, and the thought of returning home became a heavier burden than I ever anticipated. I struggled with my confidence in living alone, and that fear held me back. I encountered others who shared the same journey. They believed that spending some time in the nursing home would be a temporary solution, but they soon discovered that departing was far more complicated than they had anticipated. As time passes, the weight of leaving grows heavier, making it increasingly difficult to envision life beyond these walls. For some, the chance is gone forever. Once their home was sold or their savings were depleted by the burden of care, there was no turning back. That's the aspect that often goes unspoken. Moving in may seem like a choice that can be undone, yet for many, it becomes a path that's not so easily retraced. The nursing home gradually envelops you, and in the blink of an eye, the vibrant life you once cherished fades into a distant echo. If you're thinking about a nursing home, take a moment to reflect. Are you truly ready for the reality that once you step inside, the journey out may not be as straightforward as you imagine? Once you find your place, the obstacles to leaving, be they financial, physical, or emotional, can become more daunting than you ever anticipated. If you're still with me in this moment and finding these insights meaningful, I would truly appreciate it if you could share your presence by commenting number 6 below. It would mean a lot to me to know you're here. If you haven't had the chance to subscribe yet, I truly encourage you to do so and turn on the bell. I wouldn't want you to miss out on any of the videos we share. Your support means the world to us, allowing us to keep crafting meaningful content that informs and inspires you. We truly appreciate it. Salam to my dear mom. In closing, I find myself reflecting deeply, reflecting on my journey. I embrace the passage of time, yet I find myself wishing I hadn't thought that a nursing home was my sole choice. I entered with hopes for warmth, security, and an improved way of living. What I discovered instead was a reality that gradually stripped me of my independence, my privacy, my sense of purpose, and ultimately my very identity. Is it fair to say that all nursing homes are negative experiences? It's not always the case. There are individuals who truly require the depth of care that is offered to them. Before you make that decision, take a moment to reflect on what you might be leaving behind. Once you take that step, everything will shift in ways you may not expect. If I had the chance to turn back time, I would have put up a stronger fight to remain in my own home, sought out every possible avenue for assistance without sacrificing my independence, and taken the time to truly assess whether I needed to make such a life-altering decision. If you find yourself at this crossroads, I urge you to pause and reflect. Is this genuinely what's best for you, or merely the path of least resistance in this moment? The life you live today, with its routines, independence, and choices, is something truly precious to cherish for as long as possible. We truly appreciate you being here with us today. We genuinely want to connect with you. I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below. What is one lesson you took away today, and how do you envision incorporating it into your life moving forward? We truly value your thoughts, so please feel free to share them with us. Your comments truly inspire us and fill us with a sense of purpose. If this message resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us continue creating meaningful content. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We truly value your voice. See you in the next video.